You can take the blue pill and wake up tomorrow and everything will be software 1.0 just like it always has been. Or you can take the red pill and see just how deep this rabbit hole goes. Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All. First of all, a huge apology to Lawrence Fishburne for butchering being Morpheus there, but I really did want to kind of reference The Matrix, which is almost a quarter of a century old. That's just hard to believe. Anyway, life-changing when I watched it, an amazing movie still. But I wanted to reference that because Elon Musk just tweeted out something very short that I think actually has rather profound implications. So let's start with the tweets that Elon was responding to. It starts with Todos Eléctricos, and I'm translating this roughly as this is stupid. Basically, the way the windshield wipers are acting is stupid. And Teslatino replied, AP auto wipers need to be fixed, Elon Musk. At the very least, allow cancel wipes while on autopilot. It makes no sense to allow this to keep happening. To which Elon Musk responded, sorry, this is one of the last neural nets to be updated to surround video from single camera, single frame. So first of all, what other CEO of any major company or any company at all for that matter is apologizing on Twitter for people being annoyed with their software or products or something? That's just, it's amazing. So that's really, really cool. But that aside, what Elon Musk is talking about here kind of blew my mind. And you might be like, fine, it's windshield wipers, whatever. But what we're talking about here is the fact that these windshield wipers are neural network controlled. They are not controlled by a dumb algorithm. So if you have auto detecting wipers on your car, the likelihood is that there's some electrical field that they put across the windshield, and as that reaches a certain level of conductivity because there's rain on it, that triggers the wipers to go. It's a relatively dumb algorithm. It works okay, it's not fantastic, but it works all right. The big problem is always when there's just like a little bit of mist, it never seems to work properly. But what we're talking about here is a neural network that's controlling this, and the old version is single camera, single frame, and they're talking about updating that to a more robust neural network that will take surround video to really look around and see whether it's raining or not and how much it's raining and whether the wipers should be activated using a surround video rather than using a single frame. More on this in a moment, but first, do you remember how awesome it was to eat cereal as a kid? I sure do. But as we grow up, we start to feel like we can't enjoy our food like that anymore. Well, Magic Spoon has something to say about that. Why not have that great taste, but in a no sugar, no gluten, low carb cereal? Magic Spoon has great flavors like cocoa, frosted, fruity, and my personal favorite, peanut butter. And the boxes are awesome too. Look how colorful and fun they are. And each serving only has 4 grams net carbs, so it's keto friendly, 0 grams of sugar, so it's great for my low sugar diet, and 14 grams of protein, which is more than 2 eggs worth of protein. And the best part, it's totally delicious. Not only do I and my wife Misinformation love it, but even our picky eater teenage son loves Magic Spoon. So we have a new cereal the entire family can enjoy. Click the link below to grab a variety pack today, and be sure to use the promo code Dr. Know-It-All at checkout to get $5 off any order, or go to magicspoon.com/Dr. Know-It-All. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. If you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. So click the link below or scan the QR code on the screen and use the code Dr. Know-It-All for $5 off, or go to magicspoon.com/Dr. Know-It-All to save $5 today. And now let's get back to it. So the big thing to my mind was the fact that they were even using a neural network to start with, even if it was a relatively primitive one. And this, if you remember, is how highway autopilot worked. When you would get on the highway back before version 11 of the software, it would revert back to the autopilot navigation stack. And that was more or less single frame, multi-camera. But anyway, it was using individual cameras, but individually, not stitched together as far as I remember. So the software was about 5+ years old. It was rather rudimentary, but it worked really, really well on highways because, of course, highways are relatively simple things to deal with. So version 11, the big thing that happened was that they're using the more modern video-based surround camera view for highway driving as well, which allows the car to behave in a more human, less robotic manner. And of course, they're going to have to upgrade the wiper stack to do that as well. It's probably just a small neural network on the side, but it will probably be tied into what I've seen with the release notes for 11.4. Still haven't got it yet. yet. Hopefully, maybe it'll happen before Wednesday when we have to start our big road trip. But anyway, part of that release notes is that it's able to detect weather by looking around to see the conditions, to see if there are splashes coming off the road, and the car can use that to slow down if needed in a speed zone. So say it's a 65-mile-an-hour zone, but it's raining very heavily. The car can realize that and can slow down to maybe 50 or 55 miles an hour to a more safe speed to drive in those conditions. But the fact of the matter is that you can also use that same weather detection system to do the wipers as well. So even if it's not raining severely, obviously if it's raining severely, it's pretty easy to determine that and to use the windshield wipers. But the tricky part is always when it's just a little bit, it's misting or something like that. And so the wipers go off, and they need to go off once in a while to keep the windshield relatively clear. And it's not the most trivial thing in the world to do, but a neural network operates much more like a human camera, our eyes, and neural system, our brains, and we are able to do a pretty decent job of, pushing the button or whatever to force the windshield wipers to go off whenever we're comfortable with that. So clearly a weather detecting system, a 360 surround camera system that can see over time and understand if there is mist getting onto the windshield is going to be substantially better. But beyond the practicality of this individual example is just to see how deep this rabbit hole goes. I did not expect this. I thought when they were talking photons to controls, we're talking about things coming into the cameras to pressing the accelerator or brake or turning the wheel. I thought that that was the extent of it, but it apparently is not. And that's something that was really revelatory to me. So we are looking at definitely the windshield wiper system, the automatic windshield wiper system being neural network controlled. But what else might be controlled by neural networks as well? Well, one thing that Tesla definitely does is operate their factories using AI, and this is actually where full self-driving grew out of. Their vision-based system to help them operate their factories and maintain high quality as they ramped scale in the early 2010s was what gave rise to the full self-driving effort on Tesla's part. And on top of that, there is strong evidence that Tesla is now using AI or machine learning to help them actually design the factories. So if you know about chips, and I'm using chips as a reasonable example because Elon Musk talks about factories as macro scale chips like computer chips. If you know about chips, human beings can't design those chips by themselves anymore. They're just too complicated. The new things that are in, something like an iPhone or whatever, those are too complicated for humans to design themselves. So we use neural networks and machine learning in order to help us build these chips and to design them as efficiently as possible. And it looks like what's happening is that Tesla is using the same sort of principles to help them actually design the most efficient factory layout possible. So what else might Tesla use or be using neural networks to control in the car itself? Well, one obvious area is motor control. So the slip start, rather than again being an algorithm where you see a wheel slip or something like that and you take the traction off of that and push it onto another wheel, rather than that, you could actually have machine learning controlled stuff going on. So as you press the accelerator quickly, it actually is predictively realizing when that wheel might slip. So rather than the wheel actually slipping and then it correcting that in kind of a reactive manner, it could proactively say like, oh, this wheel is about to slip, so I'm going to move the torque over to this other wheel so that I can maintain maximum traction. That would not surprise me at all if they're doing that for motor control. And obviously not just traction control for acceleration, but also for automatic braking systems. So again, the automatic braking system, the traditional one, is kind of dumb. As soon as the wheel starts to slip, it allows it to roll again. So you get that sort of as you're stopping rapidly rather than a screeching thing. But again, if Tesla's AI team can figure out a way to predictively estimate when that wheel is about to slip rather than after it slipped, so proactive rather than reactive, we're talking about a situation where the car could brake more efficiently than any traditional automatic emergency braking system. And let's dial it down even deeper. What about motor control overall? What if you want to be able to accelerate as quickly as possible and yet be as efficient as possible on the highway? Well, running these motors at certain RPMs and things might be a very efficient way to do that. And Tesla might be able to adjust how these things operate in real time in order to make them as efficient as possible while in sort of cruise mode, and also as powerful as possible during acceleration mode. And it's even possible that the regenerative braking could be AI controlled as well, so that it maximizes the amount of energy that it pulls out of that kinetic loss as it's slowing down. So all of these things are possible. We do know that they've definitely used machine learning and AI in order to actually build the motors, because the design of where the magnets are and how they interact with each other is a really, really complicated thing to do. They've created excellent simulation software, but I believe that they've even mentioned that they use machine learning to help them design these things and to iterate a whole bunch of different possible designs for their motors in order to pick out the best one possible. And to go deeper yet, the motor that they talk about, the new motor that they're talking about that has no rare earth metals, the design of that is very, very complex. Iron is a great magnet, but it's easily demagnetized, and so you have to place the magnets very, very carefully as you create a motor for something like that, so that they don't demagnetize themselves and reduce the efficiency of the motor. And given Tesla's propensity to use machine learning, I would not at all be surprised to know that they used AI or machine learning to help them design these motors as well. And then let's go down that rabbit hole just a little deeper as well. What about using machine learning to control the battery management system? So the battery management system controls how the car discharges as you're using it and charges, of course, as you're charging it up. What if the BMS that's inside of Teslas is actually using some neural networks that they've trained up on all of the data from all of us millions of users to make the charging and discharging of batteries as efficient as possible and to reduce the wear and tear on the batteries as much as possible? Because especially charging rapidly can really degrade batteries. So if they're using machine learning in order to control how the batteries charge down to each individual cell, how they're charging up. So you can charge one cell a lot and then let it go for a while so it cools down, charge up another one over here, right? So that the battery management system is not a simple thing where it's sort of an on-off switch. It actually is likely extremely complex. And so this is another place that a neural network could be extremely valuable. And of course, these are just the areas that I've thought about. If you have other ideas, definitely let me know in the comments. But I think overall, what we're looking at here is how deep this rabbit hole of AI goes. When Elon Musk talked about photons to controls, he wasn't just talking about the simple things that I thought. He was talking about everything. The Tesla team is using AI and machine learning all the way from helping to design and operate factories all the way down to the way your car drives. And that's just amazing. So rather than turtles all the way down, it's AI all the way down to the bottom of the rabbit hole. All right, I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it fun and interesting and thought-provoking. If you did, please do like it so other people can find it. And of course, consider subscribing for more of this kind of content. As always, a huge shout out to my Patreon patrons, my YouTube channel members, and of course, my new Twitter subscribers. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel in any way that you can. And of course, if you want to join the team, just check out the link in the description. And if you're interested in a whole bunch of really cool merch, check out our merch store. Link is in the description. We have TeslaBot t-shirts, the Tesla meme t-shirt, success is a possible outcome, 4680 battery cells. All of that stuff is on t-shirts, mugs, tumblers, and on and on. So check it out. And finally, a big thank you once again to Magic Spoon for sponsoring today's video. Check out the link in the description and start enjoying your breakfast again. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.